I am Liz Donatelli. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance, the #1 romance novel talk show on YouTube. I welcomed back USA Today best-selling romance author SARIAH WILSON to discuss her rom-com, The Paid Bridesmaid. SARIAH also discussed the real-life inspiration for her novel, a potential movie adaptation, and her New Year's goals. Enjoy, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hi, SARIAH. Welcome back to Reader Seeks Romance.
Hey, Liz. Thank you for having me. I love being here. You're so much fun.
Oh, thank you. Congratulations on the release of your contemporary rom-com, which is set in Hawaii. Just I have my background. The Paid Bridesmaid. What is The Paid Bridesmaid about?
It's just about a woman who runs a Bridesmaid For Hire business and has signed these NDAs and is working for an Instagram influencer that everything's being live streamed. And so she's trying to keep everything on track. And then she meets the best man, who of course is very cute and charming, but he's got some of his own issues. He's got a company about to go public. He's worried about corporate spies. He assumes she is one because her story is not matching what he knows about the bride. So romance and hijinks ensue as they try to figure each other out.
I love the whole flip phone thing. Camden's concerns about company secrets being spilled. He uses the flip phones. Every line, every conversation about flip phones, I loved. My dad still has a flip phone, and every joke that was made, it resonated. I was like, yeah, flip phones. Is that something that you had learned, that high tech execs use flip phones that way they can't be hacked or anything? Or is that something you just came up with?
I think I just came up with it. I'm trying to think where I even thought of that, but I think in that first interaction, I thought it'd be funny if he had a flip phone, and that it's very easy to understand why that he is so paranoid. And, my husband is a computer guy. He is in programming. He doesn't have a flip phone, but he complains a lot. Like, we're not allowed to have an Alexa system in our house. Like, I actually got one as a gift, and he's like, don't set that up. Here's all the reasons why,
right.
Because he knows about security and stuff. So I think that's probably where it partly came from, but I thought it'd be funny to have this high-tech guy having this very rudimentary phone, just so, some people could get a hold of him. And when you're writing a romantic comedy, you're looking for things to joke about that might be amusing. And so I thought that's a great chance to have something where she can kind of tease him constantly about it. And it's funny, and it's fun for the readers. And because, we would feel the same way. You see someone with a flip phone, you're like, oh my gosh, coming to this century, it's okay. We have good phones now. So.
Yeah. No, that was a brilliant thread that to me never got old. Now, you mentioned Bridesmaid For Hire, which is the business that, Rachel has created. And I'm sure or maybe you don't know, it's an actual business. I looked it up online. Was that the inspiration, this professional bridesmaid service company?
Yeah, it absolutely was. Google suggests headlines to me every day, like when I open up the app on my phone, things you might be interested in reading. And that was one of them, this professional bridesmaid. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how cool is that? And I start thinking, of course, the possibilities. What's the conflict? What if, she can't let anybody find out who she is, and the guy's trying to find out? And so it kind of went from there. And I actually wrote my agent an email, and I said, oh my gosh, I have this thing I've read. It's so amazing. And she's like, yeah, I love you, but this has already been done a lot. There's lots of books about paid bridesmaids, including another one of my clients. You're taking a different approach, but just so you know, like, you didn't invent this, I just think, we don't all hear about the same things at the same time. And for me, it was just, I just thought it was such an interesting profession, because I thought, don't you have friends that could absolutely be professional bridesmaids? Like, they're just so organized and good at it. And I'm like, not me, but, I thought, yeah, I could see this being a real job. And I just thought it'd be fun to play with.
Well, it was fun. And I had never heard of this before. Your book, I guess, was meant for a reader like me who hadn't heard of it and found it completely intriguing from beginning to end, which is why I researched. I was like, I got to find out, is this a thing? Because maybe SARIAH should start this business in real life if it doesn't already exist.
Yep, real thing. You can find it. If you want to hire a bridesmaid, you can go out there and find one.
The humor is top notch in that I actually laugh, because some rom-coms are just like, okay. You have situational comedy and sarcasm and wordplay and observational, humor. You have every type of humor, mixed in there. Which scene did you write that made you laugh? That made you really chuckle? You're like, oh, this is good stuff.
I would say the ones that the ones that really got me, that kind of made me laugh, were when she's drunk, because she doesn't know she's drunk. And that was a lot of fun to write, because it's so important to her to be in control, and to be in a situation where she's 100% out of control was fun. And then I think the actual reception was a lot of fun for me too. It was actually a friend's story, who, what happens to the grandma, happened at a wedding, but the way he described it, I'm like, that's hilarious. Can I use that? He's like, yeah, go ahead. So that, I mean, obviously the circumstances are all different, but a wedding cake did fall on someone's grandma, and she jumped up, and so I thought that was cute. But yeah, I think it's just kind of incorporating things in my real life too. And I don't think I'm funny in real life. Like, someone asked my mom, like, I did a presentation for my mom, has like this seniors group that she belongs to in this neighborhood. And they said, would you come talk about books? And I did. And someone's like, well, I read your book and you are so funny. And she turns to my mom, she's like, is she funny like this in real life? My mom's like, no. I have a lot of family members to keep me humble. But I don't know. I think it's just my own humor. And it's easier to come out on a page where you can, I guess, manipulate it, and you can set things up for it. And it's a lot different, I guess, just real life. And in case someone's wondering, I'm not like a stand-up comedian where these things are just zingers are coming off the top of my head. I have to think about it and come up with them. And
yeah. Well, I suppose what's more important is that you recognize what's funny, which is probably more important than just being a funny person, is knowing what works on the page. So I could see The Paid Bridesmaid 1,000% as a film. Is there any chance of an adaptation, do you think, down the road?
I have had those charity auctions that I do. And I got the chance to talk to Jonathan Bennett. He is the guy who starred in Mean Girls. He was the cute Aaron Samuels. And it was so funny. And the reason I even bid is I just kind of monitored the site, and he was up there. And I had just watched Mean Girls with my teenage daughter the night before for her first time. And I'm like, oh, look, it's Aaron Samuels. And so I bid, and then I won. And it took me forever to schedule something. We finally, took a year, I think. And I finally scheduled something with him. And I don't know what the scheduler told him, but he comes to this meeting. I'm like, going to be like, what's it like working with Tina Fey? And, tell me about your experiences, what it's like to be an actor. Like, that's what I was really curious about. He's like, all right, let's talk about the books. Tell me about the books, SARIAH. And everything was about the books. And it was funny because he said, I have a friend who has a grant to film in Hawaii. Do you have any books set in Hawaii? And I'm like, oh, Jonathan Bennett, do I have a book for you? And so I started telling him about The Paid Bridesmaid, and he's like, I want you to send that to me. And I said, oh, what are you thinking? He's like, well, I'm going to play the lead. I'm going to play Camden. And I'm like, all right, go for it. But it's been months. I haven't heard anything, So you get people saying they're interested, or, yeah, it sounds really cute. And I don't know. And I think I was actually thinking about this today, that sometimes think about like when that book Shopaholic came out. That's one of my favorites. I love that author in that book. And it took years before there was a movie, like a really long time. I think sometimes stuff is really fast. It's like the Hunger Games, that's such a big, powerful movement, and people love so much. And those movies get made right away to kind of capitalize on that frenzy. And then there's other stuff that it just takes years and years. So
if offered the opportunity, would you want to write the screenplay?
I think if they offered it to me and said, you do it, I think I'd like to try. I don't know how good I would be at it. I've never actually done it before. And I should learn how to write screenplays, because it is one of my dreams to have something I wrote turned into a movie. And I know that's a dream for a lot of people. It's not just me. The closest I came to that was Amazon was debuting a new type of technology called Kindle in Motion. And what it was, that you would have gifts in your story. So you turn a page, and I say the heroine's cleaning a table in the diner, and you turn a page and she's in her little diner uniform and she's cleaning the table. It's just sort of like having these moving pictures in the books. And so they asked me to do it, and they're like, do you want to? I'm like, yes, I want to do that. That sounds so amazing. Like, what an honor to be asked to do it, when it first came out.
Right.
And then the girl who was directing it contacted me, and she's like, how involved do you want to be? How much level do you want to be involved with this? And I'm like, 100%. Tell me everything. So they sent me every actor that they auditioned for this. They sent me their audition themselves so I could watch them. When they've picked everybody they've picked, I got to say who I liked. They picked who they wanted to pick. They sent me all the wardrobe. for everyone, and the hair and makeup, and sent me stuff from the set. Like the very first day they were filming, I have it on my YouTube channel. She got all the actors together and they're like, "Hi, SARIAH, we're so excited to film." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like it was so thrilling to me. Like they're making my little movies, you know. It was really, really cool. So I would love to be involved. I think the whole process is magical.
I have not read your whole catalog of novels, but have you ever written one in which someone gets to speak or meet with a celebrity in an auction situation and then a romance ensues?
I haven't. And I was actually thinking about the very idea the other day, not for a person who meets them, but I'm very interested in the people who facilitate these meetings because I get to know them quite well. You know, we exchange emails back and forth. So I thought it would be interesting to me to have someone, because I thought they get to see everything because they coordinate everything. And then 9 times out of 10, they stay on the phone call. They stay quiet. They turn off their video. They turn off their mic. It's understandable. You do not know what kind of person is on the other end.
Yeah.
And that celebrity needs to be protected. And so there's always a chaperone when you're having these conversations. And I honestly don't even notice because you're just so focused on having this conversation but I thought how interesting to have someone who would be hearing and seeing this stuff going on and is contacting this actor and having all this interaction with them, you know, like I'm having with them on my end. I thought that might be interesting to me. I haven't pitched it to anyone yet, but yeah, I was thinking the other day, so funny you brought that up, that I'm like, I do this so much and I have so much experience with it.
Yeah.
You know, why not turn that into a book?
Yes. And that's a very unique experience that you have because most people, I don't think I've ever spoken or met anybody who has done that, who has, you know, bid on, you know, different auctions and got to speak with famous people. And so, I mean, I think that's in your future. That novel's in your future. See. All I ask for is a little nod in the acknowledgments, Liz. Thank you for supporting this idea. You know,
I will do that.
Yeah. Name a book that you've added to your 2022 to be read pile.
I just picked up The Weather Girl. I think that sounds really cute. New rom-com. So yes. I'm hearing lots of good things about that one.
Which writing project will you be working on in the new year?
Right now, that I'm working on, it's tentatively entitled The Chemistry of Love. And it's about a woman who is a makeup cosmetic scientist who is in love with her boss and quits her job only to find out her boss is engaged. Aww. And his brother wants to break up the engagement and kind of recruits her to help him out. And you know, stuff goes from there. So I'm excited to write that. I've gotten a few chapters of that already. So hopefully it'll be good.
Oh, I love it. Is there any flip phone like banter?
Not yet. I'm working on it. There might be some Lord of the Rings stuff because I love Lord of the Rings and I've got some good Lord of the Rings banter, I think, going on, and some stuff I've come up with that I think is actually pretty cute. So we'll see.
Awesome. Is there a writing habit you hope to change in 2022?
Yes, to stop writing a book in a month, to take more time to write a book. That's my goal for this year, to spread it out a little bit and see how it goes.
Okay. What do you expect might happen if you do change that habit?
I think if I didn't have children still at home, I would feel different. So I do want to be around for my kids and what they need, especially in the evenings and the afternoons, and not be closed off from that and just not be as stressed.
What daring or thrilling thing will you try in 2022?
I'm hoping to go to Paris this April with my daughter. We were invited to do a book signing over there. And it's a huge, lots of authors are invited. But the group that I belong to that's, you know, planning for this, they're saying the French might just say no large gatherings, you know, and that might just be canceled, which I understand. I'm hoping to do, and it'll be just me and my daughter, and I've never been to Paris, and it's her lifelong dream to go. So I'm very excited to do that, but it'll be very, very cool. I think very out of my comfort zone to be traveling without my husband in a foreign country. That feels a little, scary to me, Okay. So I don't know. Yeah.
Oh. Who do you want to get to know better in the coming year?
I mean, I'm always up for getting to know Adam Driver better if he's available.
I was waiting for him to pop up at some point.
He's got to pop up at some point, right? Yeah.
You could just say Liz Donatelli. That's an answer.
Yeah, Liz Montelli, obviously.
Oh,
I know
okay.
you. Like, it's okay.
Oh, okay, great. What has to happen this year for you to proclaim it best year ever?
Professionally, I think it would have to be like a movie deal, to be honest. Like, there would have to be like, something came along and actually was concrete. I mean, we've had interest before. We've had producers contact us and read the books, and sometimes it doesn't go anywhere. I would just be happy to have it be something that was announced in Variety, even if it never got made, just to have the announcement of it's gonna be a movie, you don't actually have to make it. Just let me have the announcement. That's fine.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, SARIAH, as always, it has been a pleasure to spend time with you here on Reader Seeks Romance. Thank you for taking the time.
Well, thank you for having me.